backyard and drink my coffee and have a little bit of quiet time and just enjoy being outside before the kids wake up. Most of the time, some of them come out and meet me. Just depends on how the morning goes. But go ahead and get out our food for the chickens, and I go feed them, because otherwise I have to hear them pecking at their little screen door there, because they know they want to get outside on the grass, but we're not going to do that first thing in the morning. Y'all can just eat this. Come on. I dump out yesterday's. It's always full of stuff. And the reason why I don't let them out first thing in the morning is because I want to be able to not have to pay attention to them. Come on. And whenever they are out, I have to pay attention to them, because we live in town and technically we're not supposed to let them out. But we do, because we have the world's best neighbors and they don't care about our chickens. And I'll check, and yep, they've still got water. And I'll usually look and see if there's any eggs, but this is still too early in the morning. So what we've been feeding our chickens is this organic grain pellet, whatever. I actually don't feed them too much of that, and then this is leftover feed from some of my dad's chickens that he doesn't have anymore. And so I just give them a few of these scratch grains in there too. Just basically not to waste it. And then we like to soak our grain for the chickens about 24 hours or just a day ahead of time. And this, from what I've heard, helps it to, it soaks it and gets bigger, and it makes it easier for them to digest, and it makes it so actually you don't have to feed them quite as much. And then I will pour in some apple cider vinegar in there too, and just let it sit and soak overnight, so that way it'll be ready in the morning for them tomorrow. Alright, so this is just some apple cider vinegar, and I just give a splash to that. I really started doing that over the winter, just to kind of help try to keep our chickens healthy. To be honest, I would love to not feed them any of this, but like I mentioned earlier, since we are in town, and to be honest, our chickens are too close to our neighbors, but our neighbors don't mind, so they have to be in their house, and we only have 4 chickens because of that, because I don't want them to be too cramped. They do they scratch around in there, and we try to let them out as much as we can, so then they can get out and eat grass and scratch for bugs and all that good stuff. So hopefully the dream is to someday have a whole bunch more chickens and to let them just be pasture raised. But for now, the ladies get to hang out in here. Alright, so on our tiny little backyard, we have going some spinach that we've already harvested once, and it's coming back in. I need to harvest a little bit more, and then some lettuces, and I started planting in our little garden over here, and then literally like a few days later we decided that we were going to put our house on the market. Go ahead and do that while we're in the building process. So I stopped planting because we actually only have about a month, a little bit more than a month before we're going to be moving out. So I stopped planting, and so this is all that's come up, or that has survived all of the rabbits and squirrels and birds. We had a cucumber plant that was growing there that looked just like that guy over there, and then yesterday it just disappeared completely. I don't know if that was a kid or a rabbit. I don't know. That's a sunflower that one of my kids is growing. And this is supposed to be cabbage, and then we just have some corn that I was going to grow and plant a little bit more each week, but I stopped because I knew that we weren't going to be here for the harvest. So but that's our tiny little garden this year, and obviously I didn't put anything over here because I knew that we were leaving. So obviously we are currently living in a house in town, and we have a really tiny backyard. It's shaded by this big, huge live oak tree. And it always frustrated me because I've always wanted to have a garden, always wanted chickens, always wanted to grow a lot of our own food. And I just felt kind of stuck, like I couldn't. And so, and I always had this dream where I wanted to, to do these things, and we just felt like it's impossible. We've gone back and forth about maybe finding some land or building a house or living out in the country, and it just never seemed like it would pan out. And so last spring, I guess it was last spring, I finally just was like, I've got to do something to kind of satisfy that itch that I had to grow my own food. And I really wanted to get to a point of just being content where I was and enjoying the days that I was living and not always looking ahead. And so last spring, this little garden, I pulled up the grass that was growing there and kind of just loosened up the dirt and started like layering tons of organic material from the leaves and grass clippings and anyways, just any kind of stuff that I could layer up and trying to build up the soil. And then we put in just a little garden. And I'll show you a picture of that. We had like some little pumpkins and we do some carrots and gosh, I can't remember right now. And then across the fence, our neighbors, they're amazing. They let us grow some cucumbers, and they turned out funky. They were weird cucumbers, but we ate some, but we gave a lot to our chickens, and they loved them. Anyway, so we started just trying to be content where we were, and so we bought the chicks last spring, the chickens that we just saw, and so they're about a year old, and we started enjoying their fresh eggs last fall, and we're just trying to do what we could. We had trimmed the live oak tree up just as much as we could reach. It's so high, to try to get a little bit more light into this little garden area so we could try to grow something. And we had a little harvest, and it was fun, and the kids enjoyed it, and I enjoyed just getting my hands in the soil and trying to do what we could where we were. And then fast forward, obviously now it's like all actually becoming a reality, this dream that I've had for years and years. And so I've stopped planting here, and it's hard, but I like to come out in the morning and at least enjoy hearing the birds, and it's cool in the morning, and sitting by my little tiny garden and just really kind of planning and dreaming for what's ahead now that it really is going to be a reality. But we've enjoyed our tiny little farmstead in the city that we've had the past few years, and it's been fun to actually be able to grow some of our own food while we're living in town.